Hello. There we are.
Sorry about that. I had left the screen open, but I guess it's shut off by itself because I apologize for you having to wait. Thought I had it figured out, but I didn't. So we lost a few minutes. How's everybody tonight?
Very good after that big snowstorm.
I'm just getting my voice back, so I'm probably not going to talk a lot.
Oh,
I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
It's all right. Kid germs.
Right.
Those are the
We have
most.
Yeah.
We have a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order at 5:36. So first item is to review the minutes and approve them. Made that one change for Jeff being present last meeting. Anybody have anything else? Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting?
So moved. I can't say it, sorry.
so moved.
Very good.
All in favor? Roll
McGinn,
call.
aye.
Aye.
Cook eye.
Thomas, aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is to review the Gale Associates proposed scope of work.
Can I ask a question before we do that?
Yeah.
So Becky, how are we gonna pay for the roof project? And how much money if there is any?
Okay, well, we will be going out to bid, after we go out to bid, we'll go to town meeting for the difference, but at this point, the select board voted $300,000 of ARPA money towards the elementary school roof. And then Joe Comerford was able to earmark $200,000 for the town of Shutesbury. And the select board has dedicated that earmark for the elementary school roof. So we have $500,000 toward construction to start with. And then after we get the bids, if there's whatever balance is left, we will go to town meeting and follow the recommendations of the finance committee.
Okay,
On the funding source.
yeah, okay.
So we have a running start.
Right. Well, I was just trying to compare that with Gail's estimate.
Yeah, which is 620, I think. Did
Yeah.
everybody see Steve's little dance? He did a happy
Yeah.
dance that we have money.
Well, their estimate really, well, this is getting a little bit ahead of the game, but I think we're probably going to delete item 1D on their estimate. So really their number is 561. But I'm getting ahead of the game.
Okay. Let me get my copy one second.
Page 19 of their document.
Oh, I opened the wrong one. I'll share and put it up if everyone wants to look at it. Oh.
Right.
So quickly, while Becky is looking for that, I got in touch with the New England Door Closer Company, which is located in West Springfield. And I sent them photos of that door closer in the senior room at Town Hall. And the estimate, well, actually, I think they really gave me a price, $125 to rehab it, plus shipping cost. I thought
You
that's,
know, yeah, do you know where in West Springfield?
694 Union Street.
That doesn't do, that, yeah, that doesn't help me at all. Okay. The reason I'm asking is I've got to go down to the dentist again. My special dentist is all the way down in freaking Springfield. I have to go in a couple of weeks, so I could drop it off if I knew where the hell 561 Union Street was.
694. I can,
Okay.
I looked it up. It's, if you go down 91, it looks like it would be maybe the same exit and maybe not, where you get off if you were going to Cooley Dickinson Hospital, but it's on the other side of the expressway.
If you're going to Cooley Dickinson, oh, okay. So it's that far down, okay.
I also made a call to NSA Commercial Doors. And they have an outside sales rep, and I made it because of the back door mainly. And the outdoor sales rep will come and look at the jobs and do service. And quote something like that, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. You want to talk about the door after, Gail?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we come back to that.
Okay, let's
Okay.
go through Gail.
So did you see, you find page 19? It's their cost estimate. They kind of list the scope of work stuff.
Okay, so that's not.
What is the date on that? Because this, I've got one up
February
to say
2nd.
Yeah,
February 2nd. Let me get rid of this one.
Okay, so that's the original before the. So do you have the contract amendment?
yeah, but the contract amendment didn't have a cost estimate in it for just the work.
No, it did. Oh, you mean for the construction?
Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it had the cost estimate for design.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the wrong document.
I have it up here.
put it
Yeah, I
up.
got it. I think I have it. The one on page, what number were we looking for?
Page 19.
Yeah, I've got it right in front of me. Okay. Host disabled participant screening, screen sharing.
Okay, that would be. How's that?
Yep. Okay. How's that? Share. Nope, not that one.
Yeah, that's the one I grabbed.
Yeah, wrong document.
Yeah, let me get rid of that one. Let's do tabs. That's the one I wanted.
There you go.
Is that it? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. So how do you want to do this? How about maybe we should just go down the list and see if we agree with what they're proposing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first bullet, remove and replace the existing asphalt shingles with new asphalt shingles and new underlayment. I think we all agree on that.
Yep.
Remove and replace 5% of the existing plywood. That's true. I mean, that's going to be a unit cost. Remove and replace existing flashing at the ridges, hips, valleys, rakes, penetrations, etc. I agree with that. Remove and replace only existing gutters and downspouts. I agree with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody says no, speak it. Install new clean out tees at subgrade drainage leader locations. I agree with that one. Remove and replace the small attic vents, agreed. Remove and replace all snow guards. I don't remember seeing any snow guards, but I'll take their word for it. Remove and dispose the existing photovoltaic. How come we're removing the photovoltaic? Does it not work?
We're removing it because it's very minimal. It was put up on 96.
Okay,
And yeah, I talked to Graham Sefton about it. He's on the energy the new energy committee. And
Mhm.
he agreed that the panels are so low grade at this point to spend the money to put them back up. We'd be better off investing in something else.
okay.
I think
So,
we get 2 kilowatt, it's a 2 kilowatt system.
okay. So remove, replace, and painting the wood trim board directly below the roof line. And that's that, I think that's that,
2x4.
yeah, we're gonna call it a 2x4. So that kind of gets us into this whole thing about, do we want to put gutters on the building and on the whole building, or do we just want to put gutters where there are gutters at the present time? Because I'm also kind of wondering why, do we really want to take off the 2x4? In most cases, it's okay. You know, we could replace it where it's bad. Because these guys are proposing to cover it with aluminum.
Right,
So-
and we talked about, instead of replacing it with wood, replacing it with solid dimensional plastic.
Right, but again, it comes back to my question, why, if it's not all bad, why take it off? I guess is why.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why spend the money to take it off if it isn't broke and to put something back on? You know, if the theory is we're gonna cover it with something. And then that also ties back in with the discussion, do we want to put gutters on this building? Or do we not want to put gutters on the building? So I don't have a magic answer.
Um,
So I guess maybe we should start with the gutter part.
Well, a couple of thoughts. One is that existing 2x4, as we call it, really doesn't provide full support for a gutter because it's not deep enough or tall enough. And I felt that the way we ended our discussion when we were at the school was that we would only add gutters along the south end of the building where all the rot and decay has occurred to the trim boards at the base of the building, especially at those 4 bays. Because the water just sheets down, there's very little separation between the grade and the trim. And that would be a place where we definitely want to put gutters.
And I agree with that. I think we definitely want gutters back there.
Right.
Um,
And we're going to take off the existing gutters to do the roof and replace the existing gutters with new gutters in those locations, because in a lot of cases, those gutters are above the emergency exit doors.
Right.
And, you know, as long as they're kept clean, they're going to protect everything.
Right.
I think that, you know, and personally, I would not suggest covering the existing 2x4 because it's hard, you know, covering with aluminum, because my experience is that's hard to do properly so that water still doesn't get behind it. I would suggest, you know, removing that, putting up a proper size piece of solid dimensional plastic. And it could just be 3/4 inch thick. It doesn't have to be the 2x4, because when they could trim the roof edge back a little bit. And then,
That, Steve, if you do, it has to be consistent all the way around. What I remember is on the eastern side of the building, the gutter was underneath the 2x4
right,
and it was on top of the 2x4 and all the other parts of the building. So being consistent of replacement, if they only have to replace the ones that are rotted, it might be 5, 10 pieces of 2x4 8s or 10s. They'll keep the whole roof line. If we take an area and we got to cut back, then they're gonna have to strip that whole side back to make it match.
well, then double up the solid dimensional plastic, so it's 1.5 inches thick.
I guess in my mind, part of, and so far I agree with everything you've said, Stephen. I don't know how these guys are gonna be proposing to attach the gutters. And so maybe we're gonna need a new piece of stuff where the 2x4 is, to allow for the gutter to be installed where in the right location, because the gutter is going to have to slope. So maybe this is a moot point that we really do need to take off that existing 2x4 and put on something different to allow them to install the gutters correctly. Because I was kind of thinking they're going to have, when they do the roof, they're going to have to put a new piece of aluminum trim right at the edge of the roof anyways,
The drip edge.
a drip edge. So, and they're going to be bending that, probably custom bending it. So they could make that freaking drip edge as deep as need be, but it still needs to have something behind it. And since we don't know how the gutter is going to be installed, maybe we should go ahead and remove the existing 2x4 and put in whatever it is that's the appropriate thing to support the gutter. Most likely being plastic wood. What do you think of that?
Around the complete perimeter of the building. Is that what you're suggesting? Or just where the gutters are?
I'm thinking just where the gutters are. Anna, what do you think?
I don't think that sounds like a bad idea.
It does or it does not?
It does not. It sounds good. Sorry.
So I'm,
Again,
how
Pep-
is,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Jeff, how is what you're saying different from what Stephen was saying earlier on? So you're talking about removing the 2x4 and replacing it with doubled up plastic where gutters exist now. Is that right?
Yeah. The difference is, when we were out at the site, we were thinking maybe around the whole friggin' building, we would rip off that thing and put on new. And I'm kind of questioning, do we really want to rip off the 2x4 where we're not coming back with gutters, or should we leave what's already there? That's the only difference.
So if what is already there is rotting,
At some point, some places, not everywhere,
but the pieces that are rotting, what would you do?
would replace it with,
Solid dimensional plastic.
well, not if we're not going to put a gutter there.
Well, if we,
I think that's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay,
well, here's my thought. We go back and forth about the gutters, and what if, 5 years down the line or some period of time down the line, we decide, well, we ought to put more gutters up.
Yeah,
Then we have the problem of taking the existing 2x4 out.
Yeah.
When it would be a lot easier to remove it when the roof is replaced. Plus, if we now have partial plastic and partial wood. The wood, the 2x4 that's left.
Mhm.
We have sort of, and the dimensions are going to be different in terms of the height, the 2x4. I mean, I'm imagining the solid dimensional plastic will be, say, in the 5 to 6 inch range.
Right.
And 2x4 is in the 3.5. I mean, if the gutter covers it, you don't really see it, but
Mhm.
um,
Well, you did bring up a valid point. So, which would then drive us that we should remove the 2x4 everywhere and come back with maybe 1 inch thick by whatever.
we're losing you, Jeff.
Put more gutters up.
You're
What do
dithering.
people think about that?
I agree with
You're gonna
that.
have to repeat.
You're coming in and out, Jeff. I think you just froze up, in fact. Jeff, are you there? Jeff, I think we lost
Yeah, I'm
you.
here.
Oh, you're here. Great. You're not
Did you
moving.
guys hear?
Yeah.
We're not hearing what you're saying.
I think I got the gist of it. I think what Jeff's saying is remove all the 2x4s on the perimeter because we decided while we were out there, it was a architectural detail. That's all it was, an architectural detail. And remove that, replace it with a 1 inch piece of plastic board by 6 inches, whatever the dimension we pick, 5.5, 6 inches around the perimeter of the building. Therefore, when they replace the existing gutters, everything will work out. And if the future we want to add more gutters, it'll be the detail will be prepped for gutters, and we don't have to worry about touching the roof at that point.
I think I
That's what I said.
got it. Excellent.
So you got that, Becky?
Yep.
So that would, that line, removing, replacing, painting the wood trim board, that becomes replace the trim board with the 1 inch by 6 inches solid dimensional plastic. And then that also would then eliminate 1C. And
Yes.
I have a question from earlier. Up at the top where it says remove and replace the existing asphalt shingles. Are we going to spec, shingles are rated according to their quote life. Are we going to spec out a 3-tab 35-year shingle?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So should that be?
Yeah.
Because if
3-tab?
goes-
Are you guys using 3 tabs still?
I'm sorry, architectural.
Okay.
Architectural, 35 years.
All right. I'm not getting the inside joke. So
Well,
I'm calling them old men.
yes, I got that part.
Okay. You young
It's
snapper.
just the shingle style, like the 3 tabs have a real like flat
They're
and straight,
flat.
clean horizontal lines, where the architectural have a little more texture, and each
Mhm.
line is. So if there's any discrepancy or like movement in the roof framing or sheathing, you might be able to hide that a little more in an architectural.
Yep.
So you would want an architectural, not a 3-tab shingle.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
but 35 years, the key, so that when somebody is bidding this, everybody's bidding the same shingle, in terms of life.
Yep.
And
Okay.
sometimes they might give you options, like a 35-year. I don't know if the next one is 50. Anna, do you know what the next is after 35?
I think 50. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And then there's lifetime.
I'm not gonna be here for another 35, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
And I think it's all prorated, so I kind of question like the value of
Oh,
you know,
right.
making a claim 50 years
Yeah.
into this, you know.
I'll be looking down on your shingles. Okay. Or maybe up,
Hopefully not looking up.
maybe looking up. Okay, so we beat that one to death. How about the next bullet, modify the existing rising wall siding above the roof line to provide new roof tie-ins? I think we want to do that. We don't want to replace all of the rising wall siding. We just want them to modify it as need be to do the correct flashing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then isolated removal and replacement of deteriorated elements of the existing rising wall above the roof line. Do we want to do that, or we want to wait on that until we paint the building?
I think we could do that. We did talk about, and maybe that was part of the previous one, we're on the chimney structure. That, in the photos I saw, that appeared to be where the most rot was at the base of the siding. And didn't we discuss that, you know, they just take off the rotted siding and run the flashing? The flashing's up higher to get behind, you know, the layers that are still good.
Yeah, but I think the last bullet is saying, let's say, near the top of the chimney, they found a piece of rotted siding. I think the last bullet is saying they're going to replace the rotted siding there. Isolated removal and replacement of deteriorated elements of the existing rising wall above the roof line.
And I think that'd be better to have in the like you're saying, Jeff, to have that in the painting contract, because they're the ones who are gonna start scraping and digging and if we can keep whatever's good, keep what's good and replace as we need while we go through and paint it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I'm a little concerned about roofers doing a whole lot of siding work.
Okay,
I concur.
Yeah,
Roofers are not carpenters.
yeah, you got that right. So maybe we'll strike that one, that last bullet.
okay.
That does save us about $50. So item 1B, we're going to delete that also, right?
Yep.
Or-
That's right, yeah. So actually 1B, 1C, and 1D we're eliminating.
Yep.
Now, do we want, when they put on the solid dimensional plastic, do we want that painted? Or are we going to just wait until the building's painted?
Yeah,
Well, although they won't be able to paint it where the gutter is.
But you can't see behind the gutter.
Yeah, but you can see up under the gutter.
But that could be painted when they could paint what's visible when the building's painted.
Okay.
What do you think, Frank?
That's
I
fine.
don't think it matters because it's plastic and no, I don't know what, I'm not a professional on painting plastic. I know that while we were out there, we decided red wouldn't be the best color to choose again because it deteriorates faster than all others. But how does, Anna, in your experience in residential, how does painting the PVC, I think it's PVC plastic, whatever it is, hold up?
I guess I haven't had too many issues with it deteriorating, but I would also say I really push people to not paint it because like that's part of the great, if you leave it white, it is what it is. So I've
Yeah.
actively encouraged people away from painting it. So I honestly have a lot of data points on how well the paint holds up, especially with different colors.
So I painted, we put PVC trim around our new windows last year and I painted them. And because I was thinking that you have to buy magic paint or special paint, but now the Sherwin-Williams normal paints can go over PVC.
Mm.
it has enough movement capability in it, so I don't think there's a problem with painting the PVC,
Okay.
so.
I would agree. When I was still doing home inspections, there were a lot of builders in our areas that years ago had switched to the PVC. And some of them did leave it, say, natural, but many of them painted it. And I didn't see any unusual breakdown. And my feeling is that, you know, like other non-wood materials, they're dimensionally more stable. They don't tend to cycle and move as much as wood does seasonally. So the paint seems to hold up pretty well.
Well, that will bring up the future question of what color and who decides on what color.
We do, and we'll figure out the color later.
Okay, good.
How's that?
I like
Um,
that one.
I've found, even though when the building committee thinks they're picking the color, that the owner or whoever is living in the building usually wins. But we'll see.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. But it
I'll
was worth
happily
a
stay
try.
out of it.
It's
Defer
the
to the
only
group.
time we really had a breakdown is when we painted the highway barn pink.
Ah,
That was an immediate repaint job.
So the
Who
only
chose-
thing,
Who
the only
chose
thing
the
we
pink?
didn't get on Gail's list was, Becky, we don't know if there's any of the mechanical equipment on the roof is dead. We don't think there's any dead equipment,
I don't think so.
but we have no way of knowing.
Who would,
So, right
I
now,
guess- yeah,
gonna
I guess
move
we
on.
would need to identify all the elements that are up there and then go through them and,
there's not there's not that much,
okay.
but
Is there any chance, maybe I'll look through the pictures Lenny took and see if we can identify any of what's up there.
There are a couple of large galvanized, I assume, discharge and intakes for the ventilation system that are showing some rust. So they should be primed and painted, but not replaced.
Were you all able to get up on the roof when you went out the other day?
Oh, no.
We could barely get around the building, Becky. It was so icy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was worried when Jeff was up on the roof with Lenny. It was starting to, but it wasn't nearly as bad as when you guys went out. I hate to do this, but Jeff, could you go back? You said that did you say you're eliminating 1B, 1C, and 1D?
Yes,
All three of them?
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
You know, by changing to the solid dimensional plastic trim, that's going to be more expensive than replacing that with another piece of 2x4 or even 2x6. Although it did call for painting it too, so I'm not sure. It may come out being somewhat similar, but
Before you send off Gail's changes, do you want to send us all that
Oh, yeah.
same list, Becky, and then we'll put our initials on it and
Yep. Well, from what I understand, we had the word changes in the 2 or 3 paragraphs at the top and eliminated one in 1A, and the rest has been eliminated. And then they send it back to them so they can requote your changes. Right?
oh, there's nothing for them to requote. It just gives them a scope of work, what they're supposed to draw.
So the 497, they wouldn't requote.
Hmm?
With the changes you're making to 1A, you don't think they would requote?
What, their
the
proposal?
490? Yeah,
Their proposal or the cost estimate?
their cost estimate.
No. Well, I mean, you can ask them to, but
You think it's minor?
I think it's minor.
and isn't the
Okay.
key what the roofing contractors ultimately bid to do the job?
Yes.
So basically, we're saying it's a $500,000 job.
Well, that sounds perfect considering the fundraising we've done. Oh, that
don't
would be a
forget-
dream.
Now, don't forget for our budget, we need to have some contingency, those, like a change order contingency, which the town seems to be real good at forgetting about.
Well, they, in their proposal up there at the top right, it says with 20% contingency.
Yes, it does. Look at that, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah. And when it becomes 30, where's the money come from? That's,
yeah, and that 20% contingency, I bet is 15% for escalation and 5% for change order. Which is what we're learning about with the library. So I agree with the 15% escalation, but I would go with more than 5% change order contingency. I'd go with 10.
10%.
So I think we need some money for contingency, change
Okay.
order contingency.
I think, yeah, we need to go to the town meeting and ask for a buffer ask for the buffer, not even though it's included in these figures, ask for the buffer. If we don't use it, we can always give it back, I guess, but we don't want to get caught with our pants down with coming back saying, we need another $75,000.
Right.
So if we ask for 50, if we ask for the 10% and it's still, it'll be $50,000 we're asking for.
Yep.
Okay. That's why I just want to be sure if they make any significant, think that the 497 is going to be 525 or something, I want to know that ahead,
Mhm.
but you
Okay.
don't think they will.
Well, I kind of look at the work list and some things very much in the contractor's control, like gutters and things like their guess at 5% of replacing the plywood deck, because nobody really knows that till they strip the roof. So we can
Right.
kind of go through and kind of try to tease out where the hidden conditions could be. And I bet, in the end, I agree with what Jeff says. I think a higher percentage there would be safer. But I think we could kind of wrap our brains around it a little bit, thinking of what can they price up ahead of time? It's pretty much in their control. They, do a takeoff, buy the stuff versus the things you just don't know till you start pulling them apart.
Mhm.
And I know that old building committee was concerned about the plywood. So who knows what condition all of it is really in.
Well,
Right.
Becky, if you remember the sections of the attic that you and I went through, the plywood was in excellent shape. No signs of any leakage except around one large discharge vent, which I think was for the ventilation system. So at least where we were, there was nothing that was suggesting. I mean, I know we're on the inside, not on the outside. Plus, with their exploration where they took shingles off, there's ice and water shield there. So not going to say there isn't rot and decay somewhere, but there was nothing that, we saw when we were in the attic that would suggest that possibility.
Yeah.
Or probability.
I did see a couple of areas on different visits, on the classroom side, on the opposite side of the building, the west side of the building, at prior times that had a little bit of, leakage showing through, but not much.
Well,
So-
a little leakage doesn't mean rot and decay.
Right. So we'll see what they find.
Yeah.
So if it's the contingency in there is for 5%. So if they're finding 50%, will the contractors make the appropriate changes? I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna pay for it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would assume we would pay for it, but
Well, we need more money.
so at what point is that a contingency?
Well, change order contingency is to cover things that are gonna change out in the field or things that you
Right.
can't quantify. So if they find more rot, then the contractor will replace more wood, but we'll pay for it. mean,
Yep.
Gail's probably gonna ask for a unit price and say, and the unit price, give us a unit price, assuming you're gonna replace, I'm gonna make up a number. You know, that you're gonna replace 200 square feet of roof sheathing, but then give us a unit price for any additional roof sheathing that has to be replaced.
Okay. So then whatever the number comes in at, that's what we pay. I just
Right.
want to be sure that they don't, if it only says 5%, they don't just do 5% where 50% is rotted.
No,
No, they're just saying that 5% replacement is put it as part of this estimate.
right,
If it's 10%, then we pay the additional cost of that additional 5%.
and again, that's why we need contingency money.
Yeah.
Okay. So we beat this one to death?
Yep.
Good.
Thank you.
So number 3, review the town hall window replacement options and the metal roof on the 5-bay garage at the DPW.
Okay, so the number that Pella gave me for the two windows, material and installation was $5,760. And I don't have a price yet from whatever that guy's name was, Randall.
Randy
Randy.
Roberts.
Randall, yeah, I always get it back afterwards. So I don't have a number yet from him.
And was he the gentleman that then went down to the Department of Public Works to look at that?
Yeah,
roof?
yeah, he hasn't responded to that. He hasn't given us a number for that either.
So did he say, if I remember correctly, that the light panels, those fiberglass light panels, corrugated, they don't make those anymore?
Right. Yeah, he's gonna give us a price on replacing the roof with new
Panels.
roofing that has a green coating that Becky likes. So lime green.
So we should wait
Not
and
lime
we
green,
should
it's
wait and
orange.
shelf the window decision till we have at least one other bid. And make a decision from there.
I guess it depends how long it takes,
Randy to come back.
Randy to come back.
Because the rule is you have to solicit 3, and that's only 2. But I think we have old bids we could use for the 3rd. I'll poke around, see if I can, unless you want to get another quote.
No,
So I'll find the 3rd bid.
because it'd be nice if we could get that number from Randy so we could order.
Yeah, get it going.
He said it was like 12 weeks delivery.
Wow.
Did he give you an idea of when he'd get back to us?
Nope.
What was the Pella delivery lead time?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think it was that bad. I think it was like something in the back of my mind where he said like 6 weeks,
Okay.
but I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Well, Becky, you had that whole high school reunion with the kids. Can you give Randy a call?
Yeah. If I can find his, yeah, I can look up his number. And Steve, do you have Randy's number by any chance?
I have it somewhere, but I'm not, I can find it.
I've
That'd be
got it.
great.
I've got it.
Okay.
413-582-0445. That's office. And I didn't have a whole lot of luck getting them to answer that phone. So I called his cell, 413-530-2703.
Okay. I'll follow up on the window and the highway barn roof.
Mhm.
And Becky, you were gonna try to look into replacing the lighting, right?
With the next round of, at the highway barn.
Actually,
right?
Tim was
Yeah.
gonna get back to us who he dealt with to get that, and we'd call him because it seemed like a $250 ticket item that Tim was talking about.
Yeah, and mine would have to wait to the next round of green communities, which would be
So
next.
if we
Yeah.
asked Tim who was a contact, that's I think what we talked about, who he dealt with. Because they installed it themselves. Is that correct, Steve? You guys were
Yeah,
all,
those lights were super cheap and all we did was took because there's only 2 or 3 on the whole system that are hardwired. The rest of them are all plugged into outlets and we just took the old cords and flipped them.
okay. So these would hardwire, might need an electrician. So, but if we can find out where we bought them through that person, maybe we just get the suggestion and do that. If it's cheap enough, if it's gonna be less than $500, we can do that right away.
I'll find out tomorrow where they came
Okay.
from. And I think they're not all hardwired in that shed.
They
some of
were
them-
they were in a line, I think. So, I mean, no, maybe I thought they were in line, all hardwired, but
Don't we want them all to be hardwired, not in 1 or 2 switches?
yeah.
Let's not Mickey Mouse.
But if we get them cheap enough to just go ahead and do that right away, then we worry about, then that'll be the roof right away. That's just small money.
So Steve, should I ask Tim for that number or?
I'll get it tomorrow.
Okay, good.
So one last thought before we leave the windows. Are any of you familiar with the Anderson renewal windows?
Yeah,
Because I saw a number of those when I was still inspecting, and I thought they were, a quite nice product for a replacement window. Now they're not. There's no wood, so it's all vinyl.
but that's what I did not like those windows, at least when I looked at them from my house, because they're using a composite wood material that nobody was able to give me any kind of historical data on how long this stuff's gonna last. So I did not like the window, to be honest with you. Well, I didn't trust the window, let me put it to you that way.
Okay.
So. I mean, we could ask for price for renewal. I don't think it's as good a window.
Well, I know the Pella window is a good window.
I like the bellows.
And I like Jeff's thinking long-term as the new building committee is fix it for 30 years and then go forward later. Don't buy something that's gonna have to be replaced in 7.
Right.
Well,
We got enough other projects to do.
Yep.
I don't know the warranty on the Anderson renewal, but the base Anderson warranty on their wood windows is 20 years. And
Mhm.
my experience, having found some that were faulty, they were very generous in their replacement. I mean, they didn't provide the labor, but if you had the serial number off the window, they knew when it was made and they would send you the parts, just like that. Well, could see what Mr. Roberts comes back with and maybe
And
that.
he's gonna be quoting, he said the Anderson window,
Oh,
not the
okay.
renewal, the real Anderson
The
window.
rail is, yep.
So that'll be wood then on the inside, right?
Yep, we asked for wood on the inside, aluminum on the outside,
Okay, sounds
and
good.
then grills. Screens.
Okay, so moving on, back to the senior room door closure option. Becky, you were looking for the Gale Associates proposal, and we started to talk about this. I found a company, New England Door Closer. They're down in West Springfield. And I sent them photos of the door closer, and it'd be $125 to rehab it. And then
Excellent.
shipping cost. And in my mind, one of the advantages is we just have to take it off, and when it's fixed, we just put it back exactly the way it was. And if I remember looking at the LN, I can't remember the numbers, but that was in the $300 range. Does that sound right? Just for the closer?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
about
think,
that.
I think you told us that.
Yeah.
But that's great. Who is it? I don't know if I was talking to somebody about that senior room door closer, and they suggested that if all it really was going to take is to refill that tank with hydraulic.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of the rehab process.
Yeah, they said
Yeah.
that's probably what was needed because they knocked on it and said it was hollow, that it had all disappeared. Frank, was that you? No.
No,
No.
I mentioned it was
Okay.
probably dried out at one of the meetings.
Yeah, so I think that was the building inspector when he walked through.
Well, when I was doing a little research, I found online where it said that, and it described how you would go about refilling it. But then it cautioned what you open, because if you open the wrong part, then springs and other components fly out. So I thought that, in my mind, the $125 is quite reasonable. That includes, if there are any faulty parts, they replace those.
For $125, we ought to just get it rebuilt.
Yeah, that's great.
And they'll put the right freaking fluid in the right
Yeah.
place.
Yeah,
And we won't have Jack in the Box all over the floor.
Our problem's gonna be someone's gonna have to go pick it up. I mean, I can drop it off.
well, when I talked to them, they estimated that the shipping cost back to us would be around $25, which I thought was pretty reasonable.
Okay,
Very reasonable. So when does your appointment, Jeff? Down that way?
I think it's like the 15th or something like that.
I mean, I'm willing to go and take that thing off.
That's fine. Why don't you take it off and you and I will meet and you can give it to me and
Yeah.
give me the address and
Yeah,
I'll drop it off.
yeah. So Becky, when
Yeah.
we take, when that's taken off, the door can still open, but it just won't have a closer. But I don't know if you want to, I mean, you can't, because it's say an emergency egress door, you really can't like prevent it from being open, but it should stay shut.
Yeah, I think it should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
We'll
put a
just lock
sign
it.
on it.
I guess we, just lock it from the inside like we normally do. And there, we have very little traffic downstairs at the moment,
Okay.
especially with the back door broken.
Now that we're at the back door,
Oh, is that on our agenda?
I don't know.
No, I didn't have that on there, but I had
Okay.
on there, Susie Moser had emailed me about the front door and how, the wind can pull it out of your hand. And then someone apparently, maybe when she was town clerk, got a finger caught as the door shut, and she said the scream was quite the
Bone chilling.
event. Yeah.
What I'd like to,
So
what I'd like,
I'm sorry.
okay, what I'd like to propose is I made a call last week and I got a hold of NSA Doors, Commercial Doors in Holyoke. And I talked to Glenn, who has an outside salesman, and this is what they do. They do maintenance all around. They do brand new construction and all that other stuff. Because I was calling about the back door. And I mentioned that the front door slams, and he goes, it's usually adjustments that have to be made.
No,
And the adjustments,
no, all adjustments have been attempted. I
well,
mean,
this is, that I'd like,
tried-
the whole thing is, I would like to have someone who does professional doors for a living, like NSA, look at the front door. And
That's fine.
evaluate what we did. When we replace that and see what else we can do to prevent people's hands from being slammed.
Mhm.
And then,
Um,
not that it was on the agenda tonight, but the back door has to be on the agenda. Because I think it's gonna fail in the, again, because there's only 4 screws where 6 used to be. And no one's using it other than Becky, but I didn't say that.
I haven't been using it since that day, since I escaped and missed everybody who came to look
It's
at the
okay to
back
be
door.
used, but I mean, for all it's worth,
It's gonna break again.
I think it's a PVC frame.
Yep.
It's the same as
So
my-
the
my-
one thing I did, I called Larry Smith, a local contractor who lives right down the street. And he came, and I had just met with him, right? I didn't realize you guys were all coming. I'm sorry. I wish I had had everybody meet at the same time. But he looked at the door and he's gonna give us some quotes by the end of this week
To
to
do
replace
what?
not just the door, but the whole frame and potentially not have the side pan. I think the instructions I
Me.
got from your meeting from Frank were we don't need the skylights on the side, that we
Skylight.
could go solid without the skylights potentially, or windows.
Sidelights.
What are they
Sidelight.
called?
Side light.
Lights.
Side lights.
Skylights are in the roof.
So he's working on that. And then as we were talking and going out the front door, I told him about the problem with the front door. And as we looked at it, he's gonna quote a handle that is like below the window to the left. Because currently the handle is on the left-hand side of the door. So you have to put your hand like this and that's why fingers are exposed to the unexpected closing that caused the woman to scream because she had 3 or 4 fingers smashed. Luckily, it hasn't happened again, but if we could get that side handle off and just have the handle below the window, I think it'll keep people's fingers out of the way of the door jamb. And that's what we need to do there.
Okay, so he's gonna give us a price?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have to still get 3 prices?
Probably not for the door handle, but the back door, I think we do need 3 prices.
Okay.
And so, Frank, are you gonna ask NSA to come, or
Yeah.
should I call them to come look at it?
No, I've got the guy's name. I'll email him. He's out this past, he's out this week. He'll be back this week, end of this week, so. I'll
Okay.
email him and make an appointment. I'll broadcast it to everyone when I make it, and we'll see who can show up, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Anybody have an idea for one more quote?
I think, well, I guess we could ask Pella. I think they do doors too.
Mhm.
That would be great.
Okay. I'm sure that when I call them, they're gonna say, what about our windows?
Just tell them it's small town government. We move kind of slow.
Okay,
Okay, so that takes us to continuing assigning rating terms for the library report. I see it's 6:35. People willing to put in another 10 or 15 minutes on this, or people need to go?
sure.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Frank, could you take it back up to the front porch. Now down just a little. Okay, whoops, too far. There we go. So I found myself thinking about the front porch and feeling like I didn't feel comfortable with the anticipate need to replace in the future. And I went back and read what I had, and then I moved, and one comment I had in there, which was recommend temporary repairs to stabilize, because because we don't have it set up where it can have the photos. In one of the photos, one of the stair carriages has at best an inch of bearing, which means it wouldn't take much more movement before the stair carriage falls. So you can see what I did is I changed it to recommend temporary repairs to stabilize. I put that at the end. It was in the body, and I capitalized it. And I guess my suggestion is that it be changed to a priority repair. And I don't know if it can be then just say, priority repair, meaning the temporary repairs.
But then we could say that, we could put that in the comments, Stephen, just say temporary.
Well, I have, I got recommend, you mean,
Yeah, right, you have it, I mean, you may have it in the comments, that works, so that's what we'll call, when we can, in a letter to the select board, we say we need a little money to just dress up the entrance of the old library, and we recommend a temporary repair to stabilize it, and down the road, and that's why it's priority high. We just say, we refer to the comments.
and then the wood steps immediately below would also go priority high.
Okay.
Because that's part of the same thing. Okay. And then I would suggest at some point when people have some time, they read through the whole thing so far and see if they like, how we're stating things, and if the rating terms make sense. I don't even, maybe we could print, Becky could print part of this out and have Rita look at it, or maybe Rita would want to come to next meeting possibly and just see where this is and see if it, is making sense and is becoming a useful document.
Yeah, we could do that, that'd be good.
Yeah, and I guess it needs like that, the column on if you go across the next, like some of the things, work performed, and then here's action level again, I guess that needs to be eliminated.
Yeah, I gotta rebase that, yeah, no,
And then some of the, I didn't know if like work performed needs to get the little box, the bold line around it, and, just some housekeeping, but
yeah. Yeah, the formatting needs to be placed, but yeah. I'll work on the formatting, and then
Could you send it out to everyone?
Yep.
After that? And I'll share it with Rita and see if she has time.
well, if you share it with her and she's got some comments, that's really what we're looking for.
Okay.
I think the best thing to share them, Becky, is to print it up.
Yep,
And then we can share it, because looking at it physically in the hand rather than, because I have to add Reader as, I think I've added Reader as a share, but I've added the rest of the select board as a share to this document for them to look at it, and I'll do
Great.
that.
And
I'll
I'll
do
let the
that so they can look
select
at it, but they can't change it, but printing it, it's the printing, and then we'll have I will work with Steve in the next week or so, probably next week, to get the pictures in. But to be able to have it in their hand to go down is, so they can have it in their file would be better, and then they can go online and look at it also.
And So the other question I have, as this document is getting firmed up, that with annual town meeting coming, the date has changed to June 3rd. It might give us still a little time to look at, I don't know if we'll be able to do another building or not, but to really review the projects that you know about already and just try to figure out how much funding we might need to accomplish the projects that are out there. And so that you could, if it's more than what we have available now, we'd want to make that request to the capital planning committee.
And again, how much money do we have now?
About 20,000.
Oh, okay.
And I think the DPW shed's gonna be more than that, or
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. Yeah, so we're gonna need Randy's figures, and then we'll have to do all that other stuff from there, so we can get it into the capital planning for the,
So Becky, if we were able to inspect another building, what would your preference be? And just don't say the elementary school.
I guess town hall.
Okay,
Of course, you're already addressing some of the biggest issues, but I think, yeah, I think even if we were just to go to capital planning with the new roof at the highway barn and maybe get the money for the windows, get money for those two things, and then save the 20,000 to go into next year with unknown projects.
that sounds like a plan.
Might work. Unless something else comes up in the next month.
I don't know, that capital planning, I've heard they're pretty tough.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, Bob's on capital planning.
well, Steve, you could be a witness to the detrimental effects to the salt in the 5-bay garage there because of the condition of the roof.
I have seen it.
Okay, so
Okay. So should we spend a few more minutes on remaining items?
Sure.
Oh, I must let everyone know. So remember last time we talked about the fact that at the library, there's no carbon monoxide detector.
yeah,
There's also no smoke detector. I was talking to Mary Ann today because I asked her if she had gotten a carbon monoxide detector, and I hadn't remembered about a smoke detector. And she said, no smoke detector, no carbon monoxide detector, but that the fire chief, I think this is what she said, the fire chief said, because you don't sleep, nobody sleeps in the building, you don't have to have either one. Which may be true, but my feeling is, a fire could start in the basement of that building. And the sooner you know about it, the better, because it could do extensive damage before it's noted. Plus, there's always the remote possibility of someone being injured or killed, worst case. But Mary Ann said she's going to order smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector, or combination ones. And I
Right.
told her when she gets them, I'll put them in for her. But I thought it was interesting. It seems to me that they're so inexpensive that
yeah.
a lot of sense. Okay. Sorry about that.
So,
So it looks like we're at the basement.
Cindy, are there any priorities structure?
No, actually, there were a number of pretty substantial, nicely done looking structural repairs that I could see in the basement.
So ventilation has no comments? Is
Uh,
that,
The
We're-
concrete floor is just not
Just
applicable.
monitor. No, that would just be a monitor.
Okay. And the stone wall,
Same, monitor. I think until you get down to the stairs. Stairs I could see is either priority low or I would say priority low. I mean, they're you have to be very careful at the bottom there not to fall.
Can we go back? What does structural repairs noted mean?
It means that I saw where some new pressure treated beam components and and post had been installed at some point. How would it be how would that be better stated? We could change it.
How about structural repairs have been implemented? 'Cause I
Okay.
wasn't sure what noted means. Where structural repairs have been performed.
I like that.
PER.
Not performed. There you go.
Spelling wasn't my favorite.
Cool. Okay, and then the insulation. I guess priority low.
Yep. Is there ventilation down there?
There is none, not applicable. I guess I'd say priority low for the,
Okay, yep. I don't think you do anything in New England with mice.
Mary Ann goes through a lot of traps. We all do.
We all do. I use the plastic ones.
Oh, I find they don't work.
Oh, mine work real well. And
snap,
the foxes every night love them when I leave them out.
Yeah, I know. I'm feeding my fox too.
did you bring one of your fox over here? We've got too many rabbits.
Oh,
I'm
They're
not
so
going to
cute.
catch a fox.
Pardon?
I'm not catching a fox.
fox are good. They eat mice outside, so they're big mice eaters. So not applicable.
No, that would be just monitor.
Oh, there's no. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Priority low.
So what's 11.3? What's that first word?
Ventilation.
Oh,
I guess that needs to wrap, right?
Yeah. I'll look at that again.
Okay.
Insulate and weather strip,
Priority low.
gable vents.
Wait a minute, why do we have? So that's in there twice. Huh. I guess we could eliminate either 11.6 or 11.3.
Just so you guys know, my Zoom account has to host a meeting at 7 o'clock.
Okay,
So we have to end a couple minutes ahead of that.
well, maybe we could discuss next meeting quickly because I have a conflict on the 15th. I was wondering if people could meet either Tuesday or Monday, the 13th or the 14th.
I cannot do the 14th,
Can other
but
people
the
do
13th I can do.
Monday, the 13th?
Fine with me.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
Okay, so next meeting is the 13th at 5:30. Well, we'll give Becky a few minutes to compose herself before her next meeting. So do I hear a motion to close the meeting?
I make a motion to close the meeting.
Second,
I'll second.
And when do you think you're gonna have this document ready to print?
This week.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. I'll send it out. Everyone has a PDF to proof it.
That'd be great.
if you're comfortable, I could go through the remaining and
Yeah.
Give it rating terms.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye, again.
Alice,
Quackenbush,
aye.
aye.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Good
evening.
night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Becky.
Bye.